Colonel Manpreet Singh, Major Ashish Dhonchak, and Deputy Superintendent of Police Humayun Bhatt. By now, if you've been watching television or using social media, you're familiar with their faces. Young men in their prime, the best years of their lives ahead of them, gone in a second. Thanks to the prying eyes of us in the media, you get but a glimpse of the families they leave behind. From Srinagar to Chandigarh to Panipat, the images are painfully familiar. Stoic fathers fighting to keep their composure, weeping mothers so stricken with grief they are barely conscious, wives sent into the kind of shock that renders you feelingless and blank, and children too small to even understand why everyone around them is suddenly so serious. In a few months, I complete 20 years as a defense reporter viewer. In these 2 decades, I've had the privilege of spending far more time with the families of fallen army personnel than TV cameras now allow. I've seen their grief, and I've also seen how, when the cameras move off to the next big story, these families silently melt back into their lives. There's no drama, no slogans, all of it evaporates and they are left alone with their grief. We citizens love using phrases like "the nation will never forget." But you know I'm not lying when I say that it's unlikely that any of us, you or me, will actively remember Manpreet, Ashish and Humayun 1 week from now. Their faces will be replaced with someone else's. The only people who will continue to hold on to those memories are the families and the army unit and the police unit to which they belonged. One of the reasons I decided to write books about military heroes and their families is because it has always occurred to me just how unfair it is that they enter our lives for a few brief, painful hours or days, and then they virtually disappear altogether. How is it that personnel like Manpreet, like Humayun, like Ashish, who literally without cliche fight to the death so we and people like us may live a life of freedom, are allowed to pass into the black hole of anonymity and are forgotten? The families of uniformed personnel, especially those serving in troubled areas like Jammu and Kashmir, are made of a material that is difficult to understand and difficult to fathom. They go about their lives in an uninterrupted state of worry, the kind of worry that wears them down so much that it becomes the new normal. They wake up each day hoping it is as uneventful as the last. They shun drama and overt expressions of emotion. Just look at them in these pictures. The most ordinary things can bring on waves of anxiety, like the sound of a phone ringing. Some mothers sit in front of pictures of their gods whenever their sons call to inform them that they're leaving for an operation. They don't exhale until they get a second call confirming that their child is safe. If the call is from someone else, all the blood drains from them. Sometimes they don't even pick up the call. Each night they say a prayer, thanking the heavens for another day passed without event. And when they have to wake up and do it all over again, they do it exactly the same way. As we bid farewell to Manpreet, Ashish and Humayun, let's remember their families. Nobody will fault us, you or me, for forgetting them a week from now. But let us never forget what they did, what they stood for, and the kinds of people who must remain sleepless so they can defend the country without distraction. Thank you for listening.